Hi, I'm Graham Dodge, CEO of Sickweather. So how do we monetize the data? Well, first, privacy is of utmost concern, so we de-identify everything. So we're not selling anyone's personal information or even specifically what they've said about their illness and how it's affected them. But the data point of when and where they got sick and with which illness is extremely valuable information to pharmaceutical companies, healthcare companies, basically those that are providing services and products back to the community. So we really see it as this sort of win-win where this is information we're collecting from social media that people are willingly putting out there that we are not only giving back to the community in a meaningful way that adds value to their lives, but then is also a revenue generating stream for us to the healthcare companies that provide services back to them as well. So it's almost closing this entire social media feedback loop specifically around the trends of illness that are observed in social media. So then how is this information helpful to the consumers, the people who are using it? And we've received a few testimonials now from different parents usually with kids in daycare or school. One of which was from a mom who thanked us because our free app had alerted her to strep throat in her area. She didn't think anything of it, but the next morning her son woke up with a high fever. And because she had seen through Sickweather that strep throat was in the area, she decided to take him in to get a throat culture. Now he didn't have a sore throat yet, so she wouldn't have normally have done that, but he tested positive for strep. So she was able to then get him on antibiotics so he could go back to school and she could go back to work. So that's just one example of several different types of use cases around pre-diagnosis, preparation, prevention, and peace of mind that our users get out of the information we're providing. So have we ever pivoted our revenue model? Yes. So originally our revenue model was very much focused on advertising. We saw ourselves as this company that was poised to grow very quickly and had this enormous audience that we would then monetize through advertising, almost like any other social networking app. But what we found is that, one, a lot of the investors we met with weren't really interested in that kind of revenue model, as they had been burned by previous companies that expected the same results. And so we started to focus simultaneously on how we could monetize the data and who would be, what was the marketplace for that data. And we've since stumbled onto the fact that there is this healthcare data analytics marketplace that's expected to grow into the 20 billion or so in the next few years. That is a marketplace with companies very similar to ourselves that are de-identifying data that they're collecting either through EMRs and EHRs, through pharmaceutical sales, or through social media. And that's exactly where we fit in. But we still very much have this opportunity with regards to advertising as our consumer-facing audience grows, which it continues to. So today we have 200,000 downloads already of our free mobile apps, and that continues to grow. And we know that 10% of our audience reports their illnesses directly to us. So eventually over time, we also have trends showing that as our audience grows, we will be collecting more data from them than what we're collecting from social media. And that'll be a very important a very important milestone for our company in terms of its value, because that would be data that we're collecting exclusively through our platform and not data that people can mine elsewhere. There aren't a lot of competitors doing exactly what we're doing by walking this line between consumer-facing and enterprise. And I think we may be very unique in how we're doing that, as we're almost developing as our own media channel that is simultaneously a way for a platform for advertisers, and then also a provider of data that can sell or license the data to other companies that can use it. Very similar to a weather channel model, or any of these companies like AccuWeather and Weather Channel, both of which are partners of ours. In terms of those that we do keep our eye on in the space, there are a handful of companies that are either selling, licensing healthcare data to some of the same companies that are already licensing data from us, or are trying to compete for the mind share of being the consumer-facing app that people rely upon for getting this weather map of illness. In both regards, on the consumer side, we're much further ahead in terms of our progress and in terms of number of users from what we know of our competitors in that space. On the commercial, or on the enterprise side, some of the biggest competitors in that space are more supplemental to what we do, and one of our partners, one of our large pharmaceutical partners, licenses data from both us and this other large competitor. So in that case, we're not always competing directly even with our closest competitors.